Cabinet Committee on Investment and Growth. If you could recollect, there are two new cabinet committees that was set up, right? One was on investment and growth. The second one was on employment. So these were the two new cabinet committees that was set up. So because of this, we need to be thorough with the constitutional and statutory provisions behind cabinet committees. Who set up the cabinet committee? Which acts as the secretariat for the cabinet committee? Who are the members of the new cabinet committees? Who are the chairmen of the new cabinet committees? These points, please try to find out, guys. We'll discuss about cabinet committee on investment and growth. Who is the chairman or head for this? It is the Prime Minister. Prime Minister is the head for this cabinet committee on investment and growth. And who are the other members? There are 4 other ministers who are members of this cabinet committee on investment and growth. Home Minister, Highways Minister, and Finance Minister, Commerce Minister. These are the 4 ministers who are also members of this cabinet committee on investment and growth. Now, why was this committee set up? What is the objective of this committee? The objective of this committee is to ensure implementation of infrastructure and investment projects that are above 1,000 crores worth. All those big projects whose worth is 1,000 crore and above. For proper implementation of those projects, this committee was set up, right? For proper implementation, for better monitoring, and for facilitating all those important critical projects whose worth is more than 1,000 crores. So that 1,000 crores that we need to remember, right? They can confuse us there. If they give 500 crores, then that is a wrong statement, right? 1,000 crores. And who is the secretariat for this? Right? Which body acts as secretariat for this cabinet committee? It is the cabinet secretariat. Cabinet secretariat acts as the secretariat for all the cabinet committees. Right? Cabinet secretariat acts as the secretariat for all the cabinet committees, even for the cabinet also. Right? So this is about cabinet committee on investment and growth, guys. Similarly, try to find about cabinet committee on employment also. And the next topic is noctilucent clouds. Geography topic, noctilucent clouds. What are these noctilucent clouds? Noctilucent clouds are those clouds which usually shine in the nights, right? They are night shining clouds. Nocti means night, lucent means shining, right? Those clouds which shine in the night, they are called noctilucent clouds. These are the highest clouds in Earth's atmosphere. In which part of the atmosphere can we see these clouds? It's not in troposphere, right? We can see these clouds in mesosphere. We can see this noctilucent clouds in mesosphere, not in the troposphere. And these are the highest clouds in the Earth's atmosphere, right? And these are usually observed during summer months. In which season we can observe these noctilucent clouds? Noctilucent clouds can be seen or observed during summer months, in the summers. And in which part of the Earth can we observe these noctilucent clouds? It is between 50 degrees and 70 degrees north and south latitudes, right? Between 50 degrees north to 70 degrees north, we can see these noctilucent clouds. And also between 50 degrees south to 70 degrees south, we can see these noctilucent clouds. Right? In the daylight, we can't see them. We can see them only during the nights. Right? So noctilucent clouds, highest clouds, mesosphere, they shine in the night. They can be observed during summer months, and they are seen in the regions of 50 degrees to 70 degrees north and south. This is all information about noctilucent clouds, right? Noctilucent clouds. Now, why was this in the news, or why is this important for us? Now, as we have discussed in the previous topic, aerosols are one of the factors for cloud formation, atmospheric aerosols. So similarly, for this noctilucent clouds formation, methane plays a key role. So methane plays, I should reduce it. Increase it. Oh, is it low? Okay, fine. Yeah. Now is it okay? This noctilucent clouds is in the news because methane, which is responsible for this noctilucent clouds, is increasing. The emissions of methane are increasing, because of which noctilucent clouds formation is increasing. Because of which noctilucent clouds formation is increasing in the recent times. That is why noctilucent clouds topic is important for us. The next topic is biosimilars. Biosimilars. This is an SNT topic, guys. Biosimilars, and also current affairs topic, right? Biosimilars. What is this biosimilars? Now we all know what are generic medicines. What are generic medicines? They are nothing but alternatives to the existing drugs. Why are generic medicines made? They are made because they are affordable compared to the original drugs. And what is the specialty with generic drugs? They are made of similar components of the original drug, but they give the same effect, right? Same and similar are two different words, right? So they are made up of similar components of the original drug, but they will give the same effect, right? The generic drugs also will give the same effect as the original drugs. Now, how are these generic medicines made? Chemical synthesis is done, right? Chemically, synthesis is done similar to the drugs using similar components. Generic medicines are made. Now, what are these biosimilars? Biosimilars are also made of similar components of the original drug, but biosimilars are made biologically using living tissues, right? They are biosimilars are made using the process of biologically. Living sources are used. Whereas in generic medicines, what is used? Chemically synthesis is done. Artificially, chemically generic medicines are manufactured. Whereas biosimilars, they also give the same effect. They are also made of similar components, same like generic medicines, but biosimilars are made biologically or using living sources. This is the fine difference between biosimilars and generic medicines. Other than that, both biosimilars and generic medicines both give the same effect as the original drug. The difference is generic medicines are chemically synthesized, whereas biosimilars are biologically, that is using living sources, they are made. That's why biosimilars are called biotherapeutics. Biosimilars are also called biotherapeutics, right? They are called biotherapeutics. They are made from biological and living sources. That is blood components, cells, gene therapies, tissues. Using these, the drugs are made, right? Using these, the drugs are made. That's why they are called biosimilars. Biosimilars, right? And they are similar, not the copies of original drugs, right? They are similar to the original drugs, but they give the same effect. And now this topic is important because World Health Organization has launched the first biosimilar medicine in the world, right? Recently, World Health Organization, the WHO, has launched the first biosimilar in the world. Its name is trastuzumab. Trastuzumab. T-R-A-S-T-U. Trastuzumab. Zumab. Trastuzumab. Trastuzumab. So this was the first biosimilar that was launched by World Health Organization. Now, what is this drug used for? This trastuzumab biosimilar is used for curing breast cancer. Trastuzumab is used for curing breast cancers. Now, as we know, cancer treatment is an expensive treatment, right? So the original drugs that are used for cancer treatment are not affordable to all the sections of the society. So that's why biosimilars are made. What is the use of biosimilars? Just like generic medicines, biosimilars also will bring down the cost of the drug and affordable healthcare can be maintained, right? However, generic medicines are chemically synthesized, biosimilars are biologically made, right? So trastuzumab, this name we have to know because this question can be asked in another way also. Trastuzumab recently seen in news. is a COVID vaccine. It's wrong. It's not a COVID vaccine, right? It is the first biosimilar that is made in the world. Trastuzumab, guys. The next topic is environment topic, albedo, A-L-B-E-D-O, albedo, albedo, A-L-B-E-D-O, albedo. So what is this albedo? Albedo is portion of solar energy that is reflected back from the Earth's atmosphere. Portion of solar energy that is reflected back from the Earth's atmosphere. Now what happens? Sunlight falls on the Earth, right? Now sunlight falls on different objects. It falls on snow, it falls on water, it falls on trees, right? It falls on wetlands, it falls on the roads, it falls in the cities, right? On all the objects the sunlight falls. Now after the sunlight falls on the Earth, three things will happen. One is the surface will absorb the sunlight. That is one thing, right? Absorption will happen. Second is reflection will happen. The heat will be reflected back, right? The heat will be reflected back. First is heat will be absorbed. Second is heat will be reflected back. Third is sunlight will be scattered. Sunlight will be scattered. These are the three things that will happen when sunlight falls on an object. Reflection, absorption, scattering. Now, how much of the how much of the sunlight that is reflected back? That is albedo, right? That is albedo. Now, how is this connected to environment? Albedo is more means more heat we are reflecting back. That means global warming will reduce. Temperature of the earth will reduce, right? This is the significance of albedo. What happens if albedo decreases? Albedo is decreasing means less amount of sunlight is getting reflected. That implies more amount of sunlight is getting trapped in the earth, in the earth's atmosphere. If more energy is staying within the earth's atmosphere, what will happen? Temperature will increase, which in turn leads to global warming, right? So if albedo is more, global warming will be less. If albedo is less, global warming will be more, right? This trend we have to know. And snow. Snow is one such important object which has very much high albedo, right? It reflects most of the sunlight which falls on its surface, right? The albedo of snow is 90. That means if 100% sunlight is falling on snow, 90% of that sunlight is reflected back by the snow. Now, how is this connected to climate change? Because what's happening now? Soot particles, PM 2.5 particles, black carbon. You might have heard about this term, black carbon. What are all these? These are particulate matter. These particulate matter, they are settling down on the glaciers. Now, as they are settling down on the glaciers, what's happening? They are reducing the albedo. They are reducing the albedo of the glaciers. As a result, less heat is getting reflected and more heat is getting absorbed. More heat is getting absorbed. And the glaciers are melting. The sea level is rising. And global warming is happening. Right? So all these things are interconnected, guys. And I hope you are clear with what is albedo and how it affects the climate change. Right? And snow has around 90% albedo. Snow has around 90% albedo. And the next topic is plate tectonics theory. Plate tectonics theory. What is plate tectonics theory? You might have studied it in geography, right? This theory basically explains how the continental and oceanic plates, how they interact and how they move, right? This plate tectonics theory explains how the plates actually move. How the plates actually move? First of all, what is a plate? A plate is nothing but a portion of lithospheric crust, right? Plate is nothing but a portion of lithospheric crust. And how many types of plates are there? Two types of plates are there. One is continental plate. Second one is oceanic plate. What is the difference between continental plate and oceanic plate? In continental plate, we have more of continental lithospheric crust. Continental plate, we have more of continental lithospheric crust. Now the point we have to know here is, Lithosphere is present both in the continent as well as in the oceans. And continental crust does not mean it is made only of continental lithosphere, right? Continental plate implies it is made of both continental lithosphere and some part of oceanic lithosphere also, right? So continental plate implies it's not completely made of continental lithosphere, but also it includes oceanic lithosphere also. But which is more? If continental lithosphere is more, it is called continental plate. If oceanic lithosphere is more, it is called oceanic plate. All this is very much neatly explained in 11th class and 12th class geography, guys. Geography NCRTs, right? They are more than enough for prelims, right? All these concepts are very much clearly explained, right? Please revise them. Now, according to plate tectonics theory, how does these plates move? These plates move because of asthenosphere, right? These plates move because of asthenosphere. What is this asthenosphere? This asthenosphere is a part of upper mantle. Upper mantle. Just recollect, guys. Core, mantle, crust. Right? So these plates are present in the crust part. These plates are present in the crust part. Just below the crust, we have this asthenosphere. This asthenosphere is nothing but the hot lava, right? Hot magma. Sorry, not lava. Hot magma. This hot magma, because of convection, will be rotating. Right? It will be rotating in this asthenosphere region. Because the asthenosphere, the magma is rotating, that rotation in the asthenosphere will move the plates in the lithosphere. So simply because of convective currents of magma in the asthenosphere, the lithospheric plates will move. This is what plate tectonics theory will say. This is what plate tectonics theory will say. Now, as a part of plate tectonics theory, we have three types of boundaries. What are they? Divergent boundary, convergent boundary, and transformative boundary. Three types of boundaries are divergent boundary, convergent boundary, and transform boundaries. What are divergent boundaries? Divergent boundaries means two plates moving away from each other. Right? Two plates moving away from each other. That is divergent boundary. What is convergent boundary? Two plates coming towards each other. Two plates coming towards each other is convergent boundary. What is transform boundary? Here plates don't move away or plates don't come. They move parallelly. Plates only move parallelly. There will be no separation, there will be no converging. In transform boundaries, they will be moving only parallelly. Now what happens in divergent boundaries, as we have discussed just now? Plates will move or separate away from each other. What happens because the plates separate from each other? As the plates separate from each other, new plate will be created. Right? So new plate will be created. So crust is being created here. Crust is produced in divergent boundaries. What happens in convergent boundaries? One plate will be colliding with the other plate, because of which crust of one of the plate will be consumed. Right? It will be consumed in the asthenosphere. For those who are not able to recollect, please refer geography NCRT, guys. Right? Everything is explained there. So in convergent boundaries, crust will be destroyed. Crust will be destroyed. Whereas in transform boundaries, crust will neither be destroyed nor be produced. The crust remains the same. Only they will be moving parallelly. Only they will be moving parallelly. Right? So some examples for divergent boundaries are mid-Atlantic ridge. Mid-Atlantic ridge. That is one example for divergent boundary. And also East African rift. East African rift. That is also an example. Now for convergent boundary, we have a best example is Himalayas. Himalayas. Right? Himalayas is the best example for convergent boundaries, where the Indian plate is colliding with the other plate. Just find out, guys, what is that plate, right? And the third thing is transform boundaries. What are transform boundaries? Right? Here crust is neither produced nor created nor destroyed. Right? Crust is neither produced nor destroyed. And the example for this is San Andreas. San Andreas is one example for transform boundary. This is about plate tectonics, guys. Similarly, we have seafloor spreading. Just find out what is that seafloor spreading. Hess theory of seafloor spreading. And also origin of universe. We have 3 to 4 theories in the NCERT about origin of universe. What is Big Bang theory, right? Evolution of a star. Just try to focus these areas. These are static parts, but yet we can see questions from these areas, right? So we need to be thorough there. The next topic is current affairs topic. It is power of Siberia. Power of Siberia. What is this power of Siberia? Power of Siberia is a gas pipeline project. A gas pipeline project between China and Russia. Power of Siberia is a gas pipeline project between China and Russia. And in the options they can give, it is a collaboration of India and Russia. That is wrong. Right? That is wrong. China and Russia's gas pipeline project. This is power of Siberia. Right? So this we have to remember. And now how is this useful for China? This is useful for China's energy security. Right? This improves China's energy security. And how is this a problem for India? This will deepen the ties between Russia and China. Right? This will deepen the ties between Russia and China. So that's why this is an issue for India international relations. Right? So power of Siberia, China-Russia gas pipeline project. This you have to know. The next topic is environment topic. National Wildlife Action Plan. National Wildlife Action Plan 2017 to 2031. 2017 to 2031. National Wildlife Action Plan. Now, previous to this National Wildlife Action Plan, we had two such kind of National Wildlife Action Plans. First one was from 1983 to 2001. First National Wildlife Action Plan was from 1983 to 2001. Second Wildlife Action Plan was from 2002 to 2016. Second Wildlife Action Plan was from 2002 to 2016. Now the third National Wildlife Action Plan is from 2017 to 2031. What is so special about this National Wildlife Action Plan 2017 to 31? Two important points are, first is landscape approach for wildlife conservation. First is landscape approach for wildlife conservation. What is this landscape approach? Now, till now, in the previous two wildlife action plans, what the government was doing is, it was focusing on protected areas and buffer zones. Right? It was focusing on protection of wild animals in the protected areas. But the challenge here is, the animals are moving away from these protected areas. And we are seeing humans coming into these protected areas, because of which man-animal conflict is taking place. All these are not included in the previous wildlife action plans because they were only dealing with protected areas, not outside protected areas. Now, what the new wildlife action plan is saying is, it will take care of the entire landscape. That is the entire region where these wildlife animals are moving. So this is something new which the recent wildlife action plan is bringing. And second thing is, for the first time in this action plan, the government has recognized the impact of climate change on habitat fragmentation of these wild animals. For the first time, government has recognized the impact of climate change on the habitat fragmentation of these wild animals. And so this is about National Wildlife Action Plan. National Wildlife Action Plan. The next topic is NGT. NGT, we know, we see it every time in the news, right? So we'll revise the important points about NGT. Now, under which act NGT was brought? NGT was brought under NGT Act only. NGT Act 2010. Not under EPR 1986, or not under Wildlife Conservation Act, or not under Biodiversity Act. Options will be like that only, guys. Be careful. NGT has a separate act called NGT Act. Why was it set up? What is the objective of this NGT? Speedy disposal of cases related to environment. Right? That is the broad mandate of this NGT, National Green Tribunal. What is the objective? Speedy disposal of cases related to environment. Right? That is the overall objective. And the next point about NGT is, it has powers of civil court. NGT has powers of civil court. It has the powers of civil court. However, NGT is not bound under Code of Civil Procedure. NGT need not follow Code of Civil Procedure. NGT follows principles of natural justice. This was already a question in previous prelims, guys, right? In previous papers, this was asked already, not 2019, previous to that. So NGT does not follow or need not follow Code of Civil Procedure. What it follows is principles of natural justice. What do the normal courts follow? The normal courts are bound to follow CRPC and CPC. They are bound to follow the High Court, Supreme Courts. They follow Criminal Procedure Code and Civil Procedure Code. Accordingly, punishments are given for the convicted people. But NGT need not follow Code of Civil Procedure. NGT will follow principles of natural justice, right? And it has powers of civil court. And now another interesting thing about this is, under the NGT Act, NGT was given a mandate that it has to finish the case within 6 months. So time-bounded disposal of cases within 6 months. That was also mentioned in NGT Act, right? So ideally, according to NGT Act, NGT is supposed to finish up a case within 6 months. And where is the principal bench of NGT located? NGT totally has 5 benches, guys, right? Principal bench, that is the main bench of NGT, is in Delhi, New Delhi, right? That is most obvious, right? The principal bench of NGT is in New Delhi. The other 4 locations are Bhopal, Pune, Kolkata and Chennai. Bhopal, Pune, Kolkata and Chennai. These are the other benches of NGT. Right? So these are all the points about NGT, guys. National Green Tribunal. Follows principles of natural justice. And as a part of our crash course, we have discussed about 3 important reports that are given by IPCC. What are the names of those reports? Please try to recollect, guys. One is IPCC report on climate change and land. One is IPCC special report on climate change and land. Second report is special report on ocean and cryosphere. Second is special report on ocean and cryosphere. Third report is special report on global warming at 1.5 degrees Celsius. Please try to recollect, guys. We have discussed this during COP25 summit. When we were discussing the UNFCCC COP25 summit, I have given you a list of all the important reports and indexes that were mentioned in that COP25 summit. So these are important for us. Where did the COP25 summit took place and who is the president for COP25 summit? Right? Try to recollect those also. So these are 3 such important reports that were discussed in the COP25 summit. So these are very important for us. So first report is climate change and land. I'll explain you briefly so that you will remember. So climate change and land. This report talks about impact of climate change on desertification and impact of desertification on climate change. If some area becomes desertified, that is if it becomes infertile, trees won't grow there. So there is loss of forest cover. That means less number of trees are absorbing CO2. That means CO2 emissions will increase. So CO2 emissions increased implies global warming will increase. Global warming, if it increases, climate change will increase. So in this way, desertification and climate change are related. So how is climate change and desertification related? If climate change happens, if global warming happens, temperature increases, then trees and plants will die. Trees and plants will die. We will be having acid rains, right? And also we will be having excessive deposition of fertilizers in the lakes, guys. Eutrophication, yeah. So eutrophication, acid rains, these will happen if climate change increases, right? If climate change increases, floods will increase. Floods increases, agricultural runoff will be there. The agricultural runoff is there, eutrophication will increase. And acid rains will happen. All these will affect plant and animal life. And again, soil will be destroyed. So in this way, climate change will impact desertification, and desertification will also impact climate change. This is what is explained by this special report on climate change and land, right? The second report is ocean and cryosphere. What is cryosphere? Cryosphere is nothing but the glaciers. So this report talks about the relation between glaciers and oceans. So what this report tries to bring out is, because of global warming, because of climate change, the glaciers are melting. Now what's happening if the glaciers melt? Sea level is rising in the oceans, right? So for the rise in the sea level in the oceans, for the rise in the level in the oceans, one of the important reason is glaciers melting. So in this way, cryosphere and ocean are related. So this report tries to bring the relation between cryosphere and oceans, between cryosphere and oceans. And the third report is global warming at 1.5 degrees Celsius. Global warming at 1.5 degrees Celsius. This report speaks about an interesting topic called tipping point. Tipping point. What is this tipping point? Tipping point is, according to this report, the tipping point is 1.5 degrees Celsius. According to this report, the tipping point is 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature increase compared to the pre-industrial levels. What happens if temperature increases more than 1.5 degrees Celsius? This report is predicting that if temperature rise is more than 1.5 degrees Celsius, then we can't bring the earth back to normalcy. Floods will be intensified, cyclones will be intensified, landslides will be intensified, acid rains will be increasing, temperature will be increasing, and we can't bring the earth to normalcy. Can't bring the earth to normal equilibrium, right? That's what this global warming of 1.5 degrees Celsius report tries to explain, right? Tipping point. If they say tipping point recently seen in the news, just connect it to climate change, right? The next topic is plastics. Plastics. So plastic was in the news because of two reasons. One is plastic crust, right? Plastic crust. We can expect this, guys, right? We can expect this question, plastic crust. The second thing is draft plastic waste management rules. Recently, we have discussed this in the crash course. What the government is trying to do, the government is trying to introduce extended producer responsibility, EPR, in plastic waste management rules also. Till now, we don't have EPR, that is extended producer responsibility, in the plastic waste management rules, right? This was a question in 2019 prelims also. Right, most of the people have kept plastic waste management rules, but EPR was there in electronic waste management rules. Now the government is trying to introduce this EPR in plastic waste management rules also. However, still it is in the draft stage. Still it is in the draft stage. So still there is time, right? As of now, EPR is not yet included in plastic waste management rules. What is EPR? We have discussed that also, right? The producer of plastics is responsible for collection of the waste and processing it also, right? Extended producer responsibility, right? So this is EPR. Now, different gases are released when plastics are incinerated. Incinerated means they are burnt. They are burnt, right? They are fired. So when plastic is incinerated, some gases are released. The names of those gases we'll try to remember. One is furans, furans, F-U-R-A-N-S, furans. Second is mercury. Mercury is also released. Third is lead. Lead is also released, guys. And barium. Barium is the next gas that is also released. And dioxins. Dioxins are also released, right? So all these are released when plastics are incinerated. That is when they are fired in the presence of air. When they are fired in the presence of air, all these gases are released. So just we need to have a broad idea. The next is geography topic, guys, metamorphism. Metamorphic rocks, right? Try to recollect, there are three types of rocks. What are they? Igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic, right? Igneous rocks related to lava. Igneous rocks are related to lava. Whereas sedimentary are related to deposits. Sedimentary rocks are formed by deposits. Climate change and land speaks about impact of climate change on desertification and impact of desertification on climate change. What is desertification? Clearing all the forests and making it an infertile area. When many minerals are carried by river and are deposited, we find this sedimentary rocks. What are metamorphic rocks? Metamorphic rocks are these igneous and sedimentary rocks transforming into new rocks under the high heat and high pressure. Under high temperature and under high pressure, the rocks will change their composition. Right? The rocks will change their physical and chemical properties. That is called metamorphism. Right? That is called metamorphism. And such kind of rocks are formed are called metamorphic rocks. Right? So under high temperature, under high pressure, the physical and chemical properties of the rocks will change. Such kind of rocks are called metamorphic rocks. Try to find at least 3 to 4 names of igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks and metamorphic rocks, because they can randomly give a particular rock and ask whether it is igneous, sedimentary or metamorphic. Right? They can give granite and ask whether it is igneous, sedimentary or metamorphic. Or they can ask chalk, right? Or slate. In this way, different types of rocks are there. Right? Try to find the names. Now, in metamorphic rocks, we have 2 types of metamorphism. Right? Broadly, metamorphism can be divided into 2 types. One is dynamic metamorphism, right? One is dynamic metamorphism. The second one is thermal metamorphism, right? First is dynamic metamorphism and the second one is thermal metamorphism. What is dynamic metamorphism? In dynamic metamorphism, only physical properties will change. Chemical properties will not change, right? That is, mechanically only the rock will change. Chemical properties will not change in dynamic metamorphism. Whereas in thermal metamorphism, chemical properties will change. Chemical properties will change because of high temperature, thermal, high temperature. Right? Whereas in dynamic metamorphism, it's not related to temperature, guys. It's related to mechanical forces, right? Shear, stress, etc. will be acting on the rocks. And under this high pressure and these mechanical activities, these metamorphic rocks will be formed. Such rocks are called dynamic metamorphism rocks. Thermal metamorphism means because of high temperature, chemical properties will change. And within this thermal metamorphism, there are again 2 types. One is contact metamorphism. The second one is regional metamorphism. One is contact metamorphism. The second one is regional metamorphism. Contact metamorphism means the metamorphic rocks, they were formed because of directly coming into contact with the lava, directly coming into contact with the magma. Right? So these rocks, they have come directly in contact with the lava or the magma, because of which their chemical properties have changed because of the high temperatures. That's why this is called contact metamorphism. Regional metamorphism means they don't come into direct contact with the lava, but because of the high pressure and high temperature that is created nearby the lava or the magma, these rocks are formed. So these directly don't come into contact with lava. These are called regional metamorphism. Right? So don't worry, guys. All these are there in that NCERT geography book. Right? All these are there in NCERT geography book. All you need to do is patiently go through all these terms. We need to be thorough with these terms. Right? It's very simple. Right? We need to be thorough with these terms, because these terms itself can be straightforward questions. Dynamic metamorphism, thermal metamorphism. Within thermal metamorphism, we have contact metamorphism and regional metamorphism. In flow charts, this was excellently explained in the NCERT book. Weathering, right? Mass movements, different types of rocks, erosion, deposition, right? What are the various landforms that are formed? Everything is very much clearly explained in the geography book. Please refer it, guys. Right? And what is foliation? Now, in this metamorphic rocks, sometimes when the physical and chemical properties are changing, the atoms in the rocks, they arrange in such a way that we find stripes on the rocks, right? We find bands. We find bands on the rocks, stripes on the rocks. This is called foliation, right? This is called foliation. Foliation means the metamorphic rocks will be having bands on the surface. Stripes will be there on the surface. For better idea, please refer the images, right? Then it will get registered in your mind, right? So foliation means bands or stripes on the metamorphic rocks. Don't confuse this with exfoliation. What is exfoliation? Exfoliation means something which happens in weathering. Exfoliation means the surface of the rock will be cracking into pieces, right? So layer by layer, the rock will be cracking into pieces. That is exfoliation. Whereas foliation means the stripes or the bands that we can see on the metamorphic rocks, right? And what is lithification? Lithification is something that is observed in sedimentary rocks, right? Lithification is something that is observed in sedimentary rocks, right? So try to find about lithification also. And the next topic is Make in India Mittal Stand. Make in India, MITTLESTAND. Make in India Mittal Stand. What is this Make in India Mittal Stand? This is basically to promote MSME sector in India and MSME sector in Germany. This is to promote MSME sector in India and MSME sector in Germany. So this is a joint project of India and Germany. Right? This is a joint project of India and Germany to promote MSME sector. Make in India Mittal Stand. Right? Make in India Mittal Stand. This is market entry support scheme. Market entry support scheme for MSMEs. What is one of the major challenge for MSMEs? They are unable to compete with the huge established supply chains. Right? We have multinational corporations, companies. So these MSMEs are unable to compete with those MNCs. Right? So what these MSMEs require? They require market entry. So for that market entry support, Germany and India have brought this scheme called Make in India Mittal Stand scheme. Mittal Stand, MITTELSTAND, Mittal Stand, also known as MIIM scheme. MIIM scheme. Delta formation. So deltas are erosional landform or depositional landform? Deltas are depositional landforms. Deltas are not erosional landforms. Erosional landforms means those which try to remove particles or remove debris from the rocks. Depositional means all the particles that are carried by the river will be deposited at a place. That is depositional landform. So deltas are depositional landforms. That is first point. How are they formed? As we know, the rivers, they do lateral cutting and vertical cutting. What is this lateral cutting and vertical cutting? As the river flows on the hills, they will try to break the hill into small pieces, right? Small pieces of rocks, because of erosional activity, will be taken by the river, right? So the river will be carrying some particles of rocks and other minerals. How did this happen? This happened because of erosion. Now, all those particles which the river is carrying, it will deposit at a place. There the delta will be formed. Right? There the delta will be formed. So this is how delta will be formed. Right? This is how delta will be formed. And where can we see the deltas? Deltas are usually seen at the mouth of the sea. Deltas are usually seen at the mouth of the sea. Now we know rivers, they finally merge into the seas. Right? Rivers will finally merge into the sea. Now the area where the river merges into the sea, just before the river merges into the sea, it leaves all the deposits there. That area is called the delta region. Right? That is a very fertile region also, delta region. Example, we have Sundarbans Delta. Right? We have Sundarbans Delta. So this is the fourth point, guys. So some conditions are required for delta formation. Right? One trend we can see in the geography is in the western coastal area, we don't find more deltas. Whereas in the eastern coastal area, we find more deltas. Why does this happen? It happens because in the western coastal area, we have deep sea. We don't have shallow sea. Right? So there are some conditions for formation of delta. First is the sea in which the river is merging should not be deep. If it is deep, then deltas won't be formed. It should be shallow. right? The sea should be shallow. Only when the sea is shallow, the river will form the deltas. Otherwise, it will form estuaries. Otherwise, it will form estuaries. Estuaries are different from deltas, right? On the eastern part, eastern coastal part, we can see more deltas because sea is not that deep in the eastern coastal region. Sea is shallow here. Second thing is tides also should not be strong. Tides also should not be strong. If tides are strong, then also we can't see delta formation. And also ocean currents should not be strong. Ocean currents should not be strong. Right? Ocean currents also should not be strong. So these are some conditions for delta formation. And Sundarban's delta is the best example. Recently it became wetland also, Ramsar site also. And it is the largest Ramsar site in India. Right? It is the largest Ramsar site in India. Right? And the next topic is magnetic field of the earth. Magnetic field of the earth. Now we all know that there are magnetic field lines around the earth. Right? There are magnetic field lines around the earth. Now, how is this magnetic field formed? This magnetic field is formed because of the outer core of the earth. Outer core of the earth. Please try to recollect, guys. We have different layers: inner core, inner mantle, outer mantle, and the crust. Right? And the crust. Right? So these are different layers of the earth, inside the earth. Now, inner core is solid. Inner core is solid. What is it made up of? It's mostly made up of iron. Inner core is mostly made up of iron. Now, what is outer core made up of? Outer core is made also of iron, mostly of iron, but in liquid form. In liquid form. Whereas inner core is solid form. Outer core is liquid form of iron. Now, because of high temperatures, this liquid form of iron will be rotating, right? It will be rotating. So convective currents will be there. So this iron will be rotating in this liquid area of the outer core. Now, because iron is rotating and because iron has charge, electronic charge, a magnetic field is created, right? A magnetic field is created, right? So if not much into the details, just remember this much, that inner core is solid, outer core is liquid, right? Outer core is liquid iron. So because of this liquid iron convection, that is because of this liquid iron rotating, we are getting this magnetic field around the earth, right? This is the simple thing which we have to remember. And magnetic field lines. What are these magnetic field lines? So these magnetic field lines, right? We can see them around the earth. They go into the North Pole and they come out of the South Pole. Right? This direction is important. This direction is important. They go into the North Pole and they come out of the South Pole. Just simply Google magnetic field lines of Earth. If you see the image, you can get better picture, guys. Right? Magnetic field lines. So they go into the North Pole and they come out of the South Pole. Right? Now, why was this in the news? This was in the news because some scientists were predicting that in the coming years, magnetic field reversal can take place. Magnetic field reversal can take place. What is this magnetic field reversal? Just now we have discussed. What is the direction of magnetic field lines? Into the North Pole and away from the South Pole. Now scientists are saying that it can change. That is, into the South Pole and out of the North Pole. So direction can become ulta. That's what scientists are predicting. Right? So this usually happens with the Earth. Its magnetic field lines will be changing the direction. Not frequently, but after many thousands of years. After thousands of years. Now, how does this changing magnetic field lines impact us? One of the area where the magnetic field lines play a key role is navigation. Navigation. Right? Navigation will be affected. Navigation in the seas, right? The compass which we use, navigation in the seas, and all these will be affected because of the change in the magnetic field lines, because direction of the magnetic field will change. Direction of the magnetic field will change with respect to prelims. So the first one is Prime Minister's statement which says India can become global toy hub, right? Prime Minister's statement, if we see, it says that India can become global toy hub, right? So in this context, we have to know all the geographical indicators we have in India for the toys in India in different parts of the country, right? So one of the example which I can give is Etiko Pakka toys. Etiko Pakka toys. They are in Andhra Pradesh, right? Etiko Pakka toys. They have geographical indicator. They are in Araku, right? They are in Araku, Visakhapatnam. Etiko Pakka toys. Similarly, we have Kondapalli toys. Kondapalli toys. They also have geographical indicator. They are from Andhra Pradesh. Kondapalli toys. Similarly, we have number of toys in different parts of India, right? Especially Northeast and tribal toys and all those things we need to know, guys. Geographical indicators, right? Geographical indicators. So that is one area where we have to do homework, right? Geographical indicators. And what are the toys? And also local artisan products. What Prime Minister says is we have rich culture and heritage in India, right? We have number of toys that are locally produced. Why not make these local products global, right? Why not we make vocal for local? That's what Prime Minister says. So our focus area for prelims is GI tags for all the Indian toys, right? That's one thing. Please refer it. The second topic is NRC. In today's newspaper, we can see the NRC. Because after NRC was done in Assam, there were 19 lakh people who were left. There were 19 lakh people who were left out of NRC. Now nothing was done for those 19 lakh people. That's what the article says. Ideally, after the NRC took place, all those whose names are not there in the NRC, they can appeal to the foreigner courts, foreigner tribunals, right? They can appeal to the foreigner tribunals. So that process did not start yet. That's what the article says. So now here we need to know what is NRC, what is CAA, what is NPR, what is the difference between NPR and census, which ministry does NPR, which ministry does NRC, right? All these things we have to know. What are the minorities that are involved in CAA? What is the cutoff date, December 31st, 2014 for Citizenship Amendment Act, right? What are the exemptions that are given in Citizenship Amendment Act? All these points we have to be thorough with, right? All these points we have to be thorough with. And the next topic is Kandamal Haldi. There was an article about Kandamal Haldi. Kandamal, Kandhamal. What is this Kandamal Haldi? This is nothing but turmeric. Turmeric that is grown in Orissa. This has a geographical indicator. This Kandamal Haldi has a geographical indicator. Now, though geographical indicator is there, though officially Kandamal Haldi was recognized, the farmers who are growing this turmeric, they are not able to make profits. That's what today's article says in Hindu. Please refer it, guys, right? So why is this haldi so special? This is 100% organically made turmeric. No fertilizers are used, right? 100% organically made turmeric in India. This is made in Orissa. Orissa in a district called Kandhamal. That's why it's known as Kandamal Haldi. This has a geographical indicator. The next topic is ease of doing business. Ease of doing business, right? World Bank this year is stopping its ease of doing business report. Why is it stopping? It's stopping because of data authenticity issues. Data authenticity issues, right? That editorial article is very good, guys, right? From the last 2 years, we can see questions about ease of doing business, right? In 1 year, they have asked ease of doing business is published by which organization? That is World Bank. In one prelims, they have asked this. In the last year prelims, they have asked which of the following is not a parameter of ease of doing business, right? Maintenance of law and order was the answer, right? So this is one area where we have to focus, and this is being asked because compared to 2014, India has made a remarkable progress in ease of doing business rankings. As of now, our rank is 63, right? And World Bank is saying that it will try to audit all the past 5-year ease of doing business reports also, right? World Bank is saying it will audit the last 5-year rankings also. It wants to recheck again, right? So this topic is important for us. And yeah, there is a case called EV Chinnaya versus State of Andhra Pradesh. EV Chinnaya versus State of Andhra Pradesh. Why is this judgment important for us? This judgment is important because as of now, current affairs topic is grouping of scheduled caste reservations. Grouping of scheduled caste reservations. So that's why this topic is important for us. This judgment is important for us, right? So grouping in scheduled caste reservations is something which the Supreme Court gave permission to the states. What for? Because if we do grouping within the scheduled caste reservations, the bottommost of the downtrodden communities, they will be able to avail the reservation benefits, right? They will be able to avail the reservation benefits. That's why they are trying to group the scheduled caste into different categories, subgroupings. These are subcategories, right? So that's why the name of this judgment is important for us, guys. It is EV Chinnaya versus State of Andhra Pradesh. And the other thing is Ro-Ro train in Karnataka. Ro-Ro train. What is this Ro-Ro train? Right? What is this Ro-Ro train? Ro-Ro train is nothing but they will put all the trucks on the train and they will transport the trucks. Rather than using roads for transportation of trucks, for transportation of raw materials will be loaded in the trucks and these trucks will be loaded in the train and train will be taking. Right? So these are Ro-Ro trains. Please refer what is this Ro-Ro trains. And about RCEP also there was an article. World page, RCEP was there. Right? And Japan is planning a supply chain resilience initiative. This was there in Sunday's newspaper. Just find out what is this supply chain resilience initiative. Right? Supply chain resilience initiative.